this is God to the Transformers in most continuities. He's large, but I'm gonna start in planet mode because I want to convey the sheer mass shifting that this thing does. So this is the planet Cybertron from the toy line Transformers, well, Cybertron. I love all the little details on this figure, the towers, the cities, the landmarks. There are a bunch of little details. I think this is Kaon, but I can't remember. There's a lot of cities around this thing, which I think is just really, really cool. Primus here was probably like the coolest thing to happen in the Cybertron cartoon after Starscream becoming absolutely massive, and then they both had a battle, and yeah, that's a thing. But he's the planet Cybertron who transforms into a robot, and this is the first time that was implemented into a toy, and I believe this is the only mold they've ever had for that concept, because they repainted it again into Kara. And then for the last night, he came in purple and orange, which actually looks really cool. I kind of want to get that version. The planet does have this really cool function that Unicron was sorely lacking, which is a stand of sorts. It's a little stand made of 4 legs. It doesn't really fold away, but it's a nice little addition to help display this thing in planet mode. Something Unicron was really lacking. You either had to buy that Throne of Chaos clear thing that was like a stand for it, or you just lied it flat on its back. This actually has a way to display the planet properly, which I do appreciate. He does have Minicon ports all over the planet and some Cyberkey ports, which I'll talk about in a sec. But I want to say that I got this complete for 40 bucks. And that's not far off from some of the eBay prices I've seen for this guy complete. So it's definitely not as expensive as I was expecting it to be. Again, the molding on this planet is just stellar. There's a lot of nice little details all over this guy. The colors are a bit all over the place, and the Takara one definitely fixes that issue, but it's not too bad here. I can't speak for the last night version because that's literally just purple, blue, and orange. It's a very odd G2-ish color scheme, but I still think it looks cool. Now the gimmicks. So as a Cybertron toy, he comes with a Cyber Planet key and the Omega Lock, which is a concept that I don't like for this toy, and I'll say why in a bit. But the Cyber Key can peg into these ports that are on the side to flip out these massive cannons. And if you use the Omega Lock, you can slide it forward, and that unlocks what I believe is called Battle Station Mode or something. I can't remember exactly. It's just a planet with big-ass guns. However, if you fold those guns away, you can see what I'm calling Trade Federation Mode, because it looks like one of the Trade Federation control ships from Star Wars. Now I'm going to put this next to a Deluxe. So here's Deluxe Warpath to show you the planet's size, and it's not that big when you think about it. It's about the size of a dodgeball, a little bit smaller than a volleyball. Honestly, just having the planet Cybertron is wicked. I love having this as like my desk globe because I don't have a globe and I really love globes, but they're expensive here for good ones. But transforming this does a lot of mass shifting, and that's the reason why I wanted to compare it to Warpath here, because I'll show you the robot next to Warpath and you will see how much bigger this thing gets. Also, let's just enjoy the ratchets. So I hate the Omega Lock concept. Not like the Omega Lock itself, but the concept of having it with this toy. Because you need it in order to transform it correctly. And if you lose it, you're basically done. Yes, there are ways to transform this thing without the Omega Lock, but it's either a pain in the ass or it'll ruin the toy. So that bit is a little annoying because the Omega Lock presses a pin in each like rotator joint. There's a pin and then 2 side clips that push out. And once all of that's triggered, then the plates on the side of the robot can rotate or the head will slide up. And without the Omega Lock, jamming your thumbs in there to try and like figure it out, it's kind of stupid. But the robot mode is absolutely massive, and here's Warpath again, and mass shifting is strong with this one. That is huge. It's about commander size, but it's still huge. The robot mode reveals even more details that are super cool to look at. It looks like a bunch of cities just placed along a robot, and it looks really cool. The colors become even more whack now with the introduction of the light blue, but the head sculpt is really cool, very well detailed. I do like it. The sky has lights and sounds, but please take the batteries out of a figure when you go to sell it, because look at these pictures. They're gross, I know, but that's what happens when you leave batteries in something for so long. And the worst part is the battery with the least amount of acid in the picture had the spring stuck to it on the other side. So when I removed the battery, the spring ripped right out. So bye-bye electronics. I know how to fix it, but it's just annoying. And he does have kibble, like, well, that. But hey, I guess you can use that as a handle, so that's a plus, I guess. The roundness in some of the parts really does look off at certain angles, especially in the legs. Speaking of the legs, there are these fold-out claws in there that do things. They're cool though, but they do have mini-com ports on them, so that's some sort of play function, but I don't understand what they're there for, because he's a planet, but oh well. Now, you may have noticed the Omega Lock has CyberKey ports on it, and this is a used copy I bought, and it came with 3 of the 4 golden keys. I just need the override one, which is the red one, to have a fully complete set, but that's just something cool. You can plug all 4 keys into it, and it does light up, but I don't have watch batteries to throw in this. Surprisingly, they weren't damaged. There's no acid in there, but I don't have the right size batteries. I have 337s. They're too small. Now, you would think this brick-like thing isn't posable, but oh boy, is it packed with articulation, including waist joint, fingers, freaking ankle pivots. Although the swivels at the arms are below the elbow instead of above, so that's a bit annoying. There's no bicep rotation. It's just like a entire forearm swivel, which in all honesty is kind of useless. But as there's something there, I guess. I definitely recommend getting this because it's freaking Primus. It's the planet of Cybertron. If you don't like the Cybertron TV show aesthetic, then it's still a great pickup because you have a representation of the planet Cybertron on your shelf. The Takara one definitely looks the best out of the 3. The Last Night version is just wacky and weird, but I really like how it looks. So those 2 versions are really cool. However, I kind of hope we get like a HasLab type version of this, learning from the mistakes that they made with Unicron to make a much better Primus like they did with this figure, because they learned from the mistakes they made with Unicron, making him flat at the back and all that sort of stuff, and actually giving him a stand and actually making a proper planet mode with Primus. I hope they do that if they ever make a HasLab version. And I also wish that Zeta Toys could make like one of these after Studio Cell to combat that. That would be, I didn't really have that much of an interest in Studio Cell. I know it's 01 Studio Cell, it's Zeta Toys. I didn't have that much of an interest in Studio Cell. However, if they make a Primus, I would definitely be interested in a Primus because I love the Primus design. I think it's cool. This thing is it's awesome. But that's been my look at Cybertron Primus, which feels weird to say because he is also Cybertron, but he's from the TV show Cybertron. It's confusing. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.